Guys, Falcon back again, and today we're gonna work on this 2008, I believe, 2008 Ford Explorer. Now this procedure is gonna be the same from, I believe it's 98 all the way up until like 2008, 2009, with these 4.0 liter engines right there. The problem that we're having is actually leaking from the thermostat housing, which is a very common issue. Thermostat housing is right between both of the heads, right in front of the engine on top of the water pump. So I'll show you guys the way it looks, how dirty it is, and then just kind of go through the procedure. The things that you should replace while you're there. This is a very common issue. So whenever these 4.0 engines start overheating or you start losing coolant, this is probably where 9 times out of 10, every time I get a leak, it's either a radiator or that thermostat housing right there. But I'll show you guys, and hopefully, you guys will learn something from this, or maybe do this at home if you need to. So let's get to it. So here we go. Of course, that's the front of the engine right there. This is the upper radiator hose. It comes down and the thermostat goes right here. Now what we're gonna replace is the whole plastic piece, which is basically gonna be all of this right here, all of this all the way around, and you can see all the coolant back there. It's leaking probably from the gasket that goes between that plastic piece and the block itself, or maybe it's just cracked, but that's the issue right there. So we're gonna replace that. I'm also gonna replace that little plastic hose right there on the bottom, that one right there. That plastic hose goes from the water pump to the thermostat housing, just because we're already there and we know it's a common issue right there. So for starters, what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna get a pan down there, because I know I'm gonna drop some fluid. Next thing I'm gonna do is come back here and remove this upper radiator hose right here. Now of course the car is already cold, so you guys, we gotta make sure that it's not hot where if you take that off it's gonna burn you or anything. So I'm just gonna put a pan down there, and I'm gonna remove this side of the hose, and probably from right here, so I can move that out of the way. Undo this connector here, and it's just a push connector right there, and pull it straight out. That's the temperature sensor right there. And then once I remove this one, I can remove, it has two, I think it's 8mm bolts on each other side, to remove the upper side of the thermostat housing. So let me get that out of the way, that way you guys can see what's next. As far as to remove that that hose on the bottom, I'm gonna have to remove that pulley right there, just because it's on the way. So let me get that. Remove the serpentine belt. Serpentine belt is gonna have, you see the little hole down there where you're gonna put a I think it's a 3/8mm ratchet, and then you're gonna turn that serpentine tensioner this way so you can remove the belt, so we can get that pulley off. So let's get to it and see what issues we come up with. Here we go, guys. Took off that upper radiator hose, so just kind of moved that over to the side. I undid the serpentine belt down there with that 3/8 like I told you. I removed the serpentine belt from that upper pulley, and then went ahead to remove that pulley itself. To remove the pulley, it's a 15mm socket. Also remove that back hose down there. The one that hose is actually gonna go to the heater core. The only issue with this hose is that on this side right here, this is metal, and only this part is rubber, and the metal is bolted onto the side of the head. Unless you want to take all this off and undo it, you're just gonna have to basically kind of move this out of the way, and then kind of when you take off this piece, take it off sideways and then put it back on sideways and bolt it all back on. As far as that lower little hose down there, that hose goes from the water pump to the thermostat itself. I undid the top hose clamp, and then I'm gonna pull this off. When I put the new one, and I'm gonna pull this off, replace that little hose from the bottom, not do the top hose clamp, and then when I put everything back on, then I'll put it back on. To take off this thermostat housing is 3 8mm bolts. You can see where the socket is at. That's one. There's another one right there, right under the cable, and there's one right there. This one also has 3 for the thermostat, but we really don't have to remove it since we're gonna remove the whole piece as one unit. No need to do all of that since it comes all together. This is the new part that we're gonna put on, and this is the part number for doorman if you ever need it. So this is the way it looks outside. As it's sitting kind of like this. So those 3 8mm bolts right there, and then those 3 are for the thermostat, which is already in there. This is the hose that goes from the here from the thermostat to the water pump, and this is one of the gaskets that leaks. So that's it right there. Or sometimes it'll start leaking like from the middle where it joins. So this is a very common issue. While I'm here, like I said, I'm gonna replace the hose that goes down here, and I'm gonna go ahead and replace the temperature sensor. As far as this sensor, it's just gonna go back in there like so. Put a little bit of lube in there so you can slide in real quick. This is the part number of a CarQuest for that sensor if you need it. And then as far as keeping that sensor in place, it has a retainer kind of like this, but we're gonna have to take it off of the old one and put it on this new one. But that is it, guys. So let me get that off. Let me put this new hose back on there, and then before I bolt everything back up, I'll come back to see if I run into any more issues. Probably the biggest, toughest thing to do at this job is gonna be this little lower radiator hose, just because there's not a lot of room. I mean, if you want to take off the fan clutch and fan shower, you'll have plenty of room, but there's really no need to do all of that. So I'm gonna replace this real quick, and then I'll come back and kind of, before I bolt everything back on, if I have any issues, I'll let you know. Here's where I am. I already took that off. All I got left to do is replace that lower hose. Whenever you take this off right here, make sure you guys clean the surface and the bolts. Make sure there's no water inside the bolt holes, and make sure you clean the area with, I usually do a razor, just to make sure that the gasket is gonna seal properly. To take off this piece, I had to go ahead and remove the upper part from that thermostat housing, and the reason for that is this cable right here. You gotta push this cable or move this cable around it, that way the piece can come out. And with that little plastic part that goes here on top of the thermostat, you can't really get it around that. What else? That is pretty much it, guys. Now I'm just gonna replace that little hose and bolt everything back into place. Refill my my radiator. Make sure that we get all the air out of it if we have any left. But that's it, guys. I really hope this video helps somebody out. Don't forget to thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And I will catch you guys on my next video. Thank you for watching.